So just completed the 5th day of fasting in Ramadan, 3rd day of training while fasting. And one of the things just walking out of training today, just a reflection, I just realized that I remember my first day of training, which was my second, not my first day of training, my first day of training while fasting during Ramadan, which was in the April of 2018. And it was actually the second week of training in Jiu-Jitsu while I just started training. And so my philosophy and thinking was that if I can begin training in jiu-jitsu and I can continue to train while fasting in Ramadan, that I have no excuse to continue training throughout the year. And so part of my thinking was also this is right. When one is fasting and observing the month of Ramadan, one is not pausing the rest of life. They are continuing to do what they do with the added focus on worship and sincerity and intention with everything else that they do in life. And so the thought was, hey, let's continue that tradition. Let's continue to train and be more mindful and be more intentful in training. And even one of my training partners, shout out to Sylvester, one of the things that he would tell me early on whenever we would get paired up and spar, he would be like, look, you need to be intentional in what you're doing. Meaning, and even within the sequences and the moves of jiu-jitsu, don't go haphazardly. Have intention in the action that you're taking, and part of that will also require that you be more mindful in your execution. And so, it carries a lot more meaning and weight, especially during the month of Ramadan. And so, just completed the 5th day, and I just realized I walked out, and I was like, hey, you know what? I'm good. I'm not winded. I'm not exhausted, and we had a pretty good training session. It was a fundamentals class where we're doing drills from side mount, side control bottom on how to escape, and at the same time specific training on holding your partner in side control while whoever's on the bottom is trying to escape or recover guard. And so, there's the struggle that comes with that and the intensity that comes with that. And so, but at the same time, it's just like, hey, you know what? So long as you're following a pattern, you're following a system, you're following a schedule, you're maintaining, you're managing your energy, and you're focusing on the things that are important and excluding the things that take energy away from you. So everything else that's just wasteful. Like among the things that I've been more mindful of, several Ramadan ago, one of the things that I had made it a point to do was uninstall a lot of my social apps. Those social apps being like TikTok and Instagram and Facebook. Like I have accounts, but I don't actively post on them. And part of it is because the apps themselves are designed to keep you on them. And the browser experience is something that doesn't allow you to continue to waste your time. And so the one challenge right now is with YouTube, but because of the work that I do in the area of marketing and content creation with, freelancing and clients and things like that, also kind of pulls me in that direction. But one of the things is that, being more mindful and being more exacting in the time that you're spending allows you to focus your energies where it matters. And so part of that during this month is like, continue to do the things that, continue to fulfill your responsibilities, continuing to continue to train and continuing to be mindful in your actions, while adding on top of that additional worship, additional intensity, additional training so that you can continue to grow as a person. Comparing myself from April of 2018 to now, we're about to embark onto the April of 2023. And in the middle of all that, during the pandemic, I didn't train for 18 months. And so I feel like this is the year that I'm going to get back to, like I started training jiu-jitsu when I was at the peak of my fitness, the peak of my training. And in fact, even a year or 2 years into jiu-jitsu, my conditioning and training had continued. So I would say I got even more fit and stronger and more athletic a year into training jiu-jitsu, along with the strength and conditioning that I was doing. But then when the pandemic hit, it's one of those things where for 18 months I did no exercise, zero. And so getting back into it was a challenge. And in fact, about a year after lockdown is when I decided, hey, you know what, I'm going to get active again. And just the idea of, and now mind you, I went from being, anywhere around 200 to 205 pounds, give or take. And post-pandemic, I was about, I think my heaviest like 235 or 240, something around that. And so I remember going for a short walk. By the time I crossed the street, my hips were on fire. I was just like, whoa, I got come a long way here. And so to going from that to last year attempting a bike ride from Vegas to LA, which later I found out that I actually got COVID during that ride. And that's why that's part of the reason why I was unsuccessful in myself personally being able to complete the ride. Ended up becoming a support rider. And so, but like now it is 2023, and I feel like this is the year, and I'm reflecting upon it as also part of the tradition of Ramadan is to reflect upon what are the areas you're going to be improving on, mentally, physically, familially, communally, spiritually. And so just in that vein and in that tradition, just reflecting on the idea of what I can be doing for the next 6+ months from now, from Ramadan 2023, going forward 6 months from today, where am I going to be? And one of the thoughts I have, I'm just kind of putting it out there, is the idea of wanting to ride from Portland to Vancouver. And so just to kind of regain that level of confidence, regain the level of fitness, conditioning, be able to compete. And I'm also looking forward to my son also beginning training here in jiu-jitsu. So he's just past 3 years old. And so as one of the things here, like this channel started before I had a baby, and now I have a 3-year-old kid. And so hopefully I would hope that he would take a liking to any form of grappling, just like his Baba. So that way, that's something that we can kind of continue to grow the family. So these are just some hopes and dreams that I'm trying to share. And hopefully it's something that could be of value to you. Just a little reflection coming out, signing off. 5th day Ramadan, fasting, done. Day 3 of training, fasting, Ramadan, or jiu-jitsu while fasting, BJJ while fasting. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to connect. I'll see you soon.